Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'd like us to take a look at the report released by your agency, that's the National Bureau of Statistics, where you looked at the economically active population, or the working age, and those perhaps who couldn't get jobs during the quarter. What do you think led to this, based on the figures that you released?
Well, a movement in and out of the labor force is dependent on the priorities of individuals. For example, the economically active population are those between the ages of 15 and 64, but the labor force is those who are willing and able to find jobs, willing and able to work and are actively seeking employment. So there are several things that can affect whether or not you're in the labor force or not. You might be in the economically active population, you might be in the labor force, or you might decide to go out of the labor force for various reasons. For example, you want to go to school. For example, you have other priorities that might take you in and out of the labor force. So there are a lot of things that can explain movement in labor force, in addition to job losses, as well as preferences for different kinds of jobs.
All right, I'd like us to take a look at some of the figures in details. You talked about the total number in full employment. Now, that figure dropped by 2.37%. That's an equivalent of 1.3 million people. In your view, what do you think led to this drop?
Well, like I said, in terms of full employment, it's a combination of a few factors. One is there were definitely some job losses. Additionally, there were some people that were in full employment that may have opted out of employment because they're going to for example, people working that want to go for further studies. And there are those that are tired of full employment and choose to work for few hours and thereby are classified as underemployed. So it's a combination of those moving from full employment to underemployment, either by choice or because they lost their jobs. And there are those that are deciding to leave full employment completely because maybe they've decided to pursue further studies. Maybe in the family they have decided that because maybe a wife gets children and decides to come out of the labor force, take care of the children. So this is a combination of all these factors.
What level of job creation did we record in the second quarter based on your findings?
Well, the computation of the second quarter job creation is still being done. We're expecting those numbers to be completed by the end of next week. But what we've done, this report is focusing on the labor force, it's focusing on the labor market data, it's focusing on employment, it's focusing on underemployment. But by this time next week, we should have the second quarter jobs created, both in the formal, informal, and public sector.
All right, just before I let you go, do you think the economic activities in the country, apart from those seeking to go to school, those who have to leave jobs to go to school and all of that, the economic environment in the country, do you think in any way affected the number of people who got employed in the country?
Yes, from the preliminary numbers we are seeing, there have definitely been several job cuts in different sectors. There's also indication of particular sectors employing less, at least formal jobs, than they did historically. So yes, there are indications of job losses and indications of what appears so far to be a slowing down in the number of jobs, particularly in the formal sector being created.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have to leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Yemi Kale, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
That is Statistician-General at the National Bureau of Statistics, taking a look at the highlights of unemployment and underemployment in the second quarter. That report will actually release today, and so expecting more numbers to be churned out by the Bureau very shortly. Of course, we'll keep you posted on them as well.